What is up, guys? In today's tutorial we're going to be covering how to do a video game design. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So as you guys can see right here, we have this cover that I designed called Infamous Second Son, and the idea for this cover actually comes from open, and right here it is. So the idea actually comes from this one, and so our goal is to try to recreate this design as much as we can without using anything that is actually coming from this game cover. So that's the tough part, right? So we cannot use like that person, we can't use that actor, because a lot of the times these pictures are going to already be created the way they are. So you have to find the closest thing to it and recreate it that way, right? So this is what I came up with, you know, as good as it can get. Maybe we could have used a little bit of some orange tints or something, but overall, this is what we have, and this is what we're going to work with. So let's get to it. So I gave you all a folder, and that folder contains all these pictures and that font for 28 Days Later. Now, in these pictures, there's also some pictures that I ended up not using, like this one here. But I just wanted to let you know so that whenever you're looking for your pictures, it's very important to download the ones you want and then download some extra ones, because sometimes what the idea you envision with the first one may or may not work, and you want to be able to have, you know, extra ones to play around with and not waste time in the internet trying to look for, you know, images later on. So just make sure that you get some extra ones apart from what you already have. Sorry about that, I'm a little sick. So the first thing we're gonna go ahead and open is this template right here that we have, PS4 template, or I also gave you guys an Xbox one depending what you all like. But I'll go ahead and open this PS4, and this template, as you can see, is just pretty much the outer borders, and then everything else is just transparent, so we get to work with that. And we're going to be working with the front for now, but you all will design a back cover as well. So for here, what we're going to go ahead and start doing is just, you know, opening up our images. So we'll go ahead and go to File and Place, and the first thing we're going to want to import, you know, is maybe that city. So this one right here, go ahead and put File and Place. And then from here, we're just going to line this up over so that it's kind of like this, maybe a little bit extra. Yeah. Put them up here. Yeah, that looks about right. And so one of the things about this image, though, if we look at our original one, is that a lot of the white is coming from this side over here on the left, and it's more covered up on the right side. So what we want to do to this particular image is just go ahead and rotate it. So let's flip horizontally, and now we have, you know, this right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab my quick selection tool, my magic wand tool right here on the side, magic wand, and I'm gonna just go ahead and just click right here. Make sure that our tolerance is set to 10, and make sure that you also have add to selection, just in case we need to add some extra spots. So just go ahead and click there, and you should get like a general selection right here that looks pretty good. Go to select and mask, make sure it looks all pretty good. You can just make sure you grab your refine edge tool, just kind of come and color in these little areas, and that looks really good to me. We're gonna invert that so we only have the sky selected, and we're gonna put new layer with layer documents, with layer mask. Click OK, and now we have that sky removed. One of the things that I want to point out is that this template needs to be on top at all times. So this layer 0, just bring it back up to the top. I'm going to forget a couple of times as I'm working throughout this assignment, but just, you know, I'll do it every once in a while. When you're working with yours, just remember that that template always goes at the very top. So next, let's just go ahead and bring up that textured sky. So let's go ahead and place and grab this white one and place it right here. So now we have this textured sky. We can put this one right here, okay, and put it underneath everything else. Alright, so from here, you can see that this texture sky is right there, and you can kind of tell that this kind of looks like textured, like maybe like if it was a wall or something. So that's why I went with that textured sky right there as well. And so we'll go ahead and leave that like that for now. We'll go ahead and go and place our Iron Man next. So right here, this guy. Yeah. And so now, one of the things to keep in mind is, I mentioned you're not allowed to use images from the video game, right? So you kind of have to go and find images that will best fit into the image. And so what I did for this particular image was I searched for superhero landing, is what I called it. Superhero landing, and then from there what I ended up doing was looking for the best image that, you know, had that position where the superheroes like landing, like, yeah, or whatever, down to the floor. And I found this Iron Man picture, and I looked for one that was a high-res image, not one of those little tiny ones. And from there, I worked with that. Obviously, Iron Man is not in the game, but we can't use any of the images, so, you know, we work with what we have. Also, I want to encourage everyone, for future reference, if you ever want to do any work like this, don't use Google as your source. This is for educational purposes only, and this is technically just so you guys can kind of learn to work with Photoshop and learn how to play around with it. So in that case, I would actually ask, you know, go and take your own pictures if you're ever doing this in the real world. So let's continue. So right here we have Iron Man, and we're just going to make sure we have the quick selection tool selected, but we're not going to select anything. We're just going to go ahead and click select and mask. So from here, what we're going to do is make sure we have the selection tool over here at the top, and we're just going to select the Iron Man. And as you can see, he kind of starts getting selected there. Fairly simple. So just take your time, try to do it correctly. Right here, you can just start pressing. Pretty good. Grab the arm, come this way. There. And it doesn't have to be a perfect selection, because there's a different goal that we have in mind here. But once we have this general thing selected, we can just go ahead and put new layer with layer mask and click OK. So now we have him cut out, but we still have the original, which is right here. And that's fine, because that's what we want. With this original that we have here, we're going to go ahead and open up our layer mask. We're going to grab our brush and make sure our brush is set to black. Make sure our flow is set to 100 and our opacity is set to 100. We're going to right click here and make sure that our hardness is set to 0. We want to make this kind of as big as we can get it. Yeah, so Control Z, and then we're going to go ahead and zoom out to where we can see this entire brush. And we're just going to carefully erase parts of it. Let's go ahead and erase a little bit. And notice how I'm erasing out here in the gray area, because I just want to get rid of that line. There we go. And you'll notice that a lot of this came through, and that's fine. We're just going to make this a lot smaller. And we're just going to kind of come in and color with white. There we go, just like that. And just so that we can create this effect where we don't see all these lines. And so that looks pretty good to me. Now I'll go ahead and grab my rectangle marquee tool and just make like a selection right here on this area. And press delete right there. So that way I can get rid of everything that's on the other side. So far this looks pretty good. It's starting to come together. And one of the things that I have here is some black smoke and black area brushes. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new layer. Bring this underneath right here. And this one I'm going to grab my brush. I'm just going to carefully come and color in some dark areas here. Maybe a little bit dark over here on this side. Maybe like that. Come in with a little bit. Just kind of like color in some black here. There we go. And then again do the same thing. Just grab my marquee tool. Come here and make sure that I have like a perfect selection, and press delete and Control D. And there we go. Now it kind of creates this like moody, edgy feel to the thing. And the reason why we have him separate is so that we don't erase him as we were trying to erase the smoke in the background. So So that looks pretty good so far. So now what we need to do is kind of work with our sparks right here. So we're going to go ahead and go to File and Place. And we're going to place these sparks. And one of the cool thing about these sparks, and just in general, whenever you want to add certain stuff like this, we're going to go ahead and press OK and bring this over to the top, is that you always want to search for like sparks, maybe lens flares. There's various different things that you can search for that have a black background. And that's the goal here, because a black background, if we just switch the blend mode over to screen, voila, the black is gone and we just have these things to play around with. One of the things I want to do though is go ahead and rotate this one so it's facing the other way. And I'm going to bring it down here. And then I'm going to press Ctrl J so I can have a second one. And then one more time so I can have a third one. And actually I'm going to Ctrl Z. I'm going to erase a little bit here. Go ahead and rasterize it first, right? Erase a little bit up here at the top and down here at the bottom. There we go, perfect. And now I'm going to go ahead and do Ctrl J and J so I can have those duplicates. And on this last duplicate that I have right here, I'm actually going to go to Filter and I'm going to go to Liquify. Now if y'all remember Liquify, Liquify is where we can like mess around with our eyes and body and create these weird shapes, but we can also use it for different purposes. In this case, what we're going to do is use the Move tool. We're just going to start moving this thing upwards, kind of like curve it and stretch it up in this direction to create those cool little lines right there. Yeah, so that looks pretty good. I'm going to just go ahead and press OK. And that creates that cool effect that we have right there. And now all I need to do is move this sparks in between right here, and it creates this cool effect going through there, which I kind of like. And then of course we have the infamous second sun and stuff like that. So for that one, all we really did is just create our text, use the font 20 days later, and write the word in. So again, with the type tool, just go ahead and type the word in, then famous, but make sure famous is bigger than the word in. And there we go. And just try to line them up as best as you can right here. There we go, that's pretty good. And then we're going to go ahead and type in second sun. So go ahead and type in second. Make that a lot bigger. And put it right there. And then go ahead and type sun. And maybe make that a little bit bigger. And then limited edition. So we're going to go ahead and put limited. Make a copy of that. Bring it over here, edition. Then of course this is as well as you guys can do this. I mean, you can work on your own for this. We're going to go ahead and put these over here. And so for second and sun, second I'm going to go ahead and right click and go to blending options and go to gradient overlay, and just, I already have the colors, but like an orange and a light orange. Just click OK and do the same thing for sun, blending options and gradient overlay. And also we're going to go ahead and do a stroke, so something like that. Second, blending options, and just add a stroke. And then we're going to do the same thing for limited, blending options, and add a stroke. Copy that, copy the layer style, paste it on edition, and I'm actually going to make this stroke a little bigger on sun. Copy that and then paste it on second. And then we're going to do the same thing for in and famous. So blending options, go ahead and add a stroke. It looks okay actually, and just go ahead and paste it. Oh, but we can't have that, so go ahead and remove that gradient. And there we go. So now we have the infamous second sun, and we can go ahead and just select all of them and just size it up as big as it needs to be. Put it right there. So next we have the logos. So we can go ahead and go to File, and we can go to Place, Embed, and we need to add this sucker punch. That one goes right here. And then we can go ahead and place our rating pending. And we're going to put that rating pending on top of our template so that we can cover up the one that already currently exists. And there we go. So we have infamous Second Son front cover. Again guys, I hope this tutorial helped you all to understand the concept of what we're going to be doing. We will later work on the back of this cover and the side, but for now, you know, that's what we have. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and as always, I will see you on the next one.